gentlemen, help me welcome your host to the podium of leadership, Dr. Victor Udoh.
Welcome to the podium of leadership. You might be seated. Well, it's very, very exciting to have all of you. I really can't appreciate all of you much enough, because many of you come here, sacrifice your time to come and reason with us so that we can make our state the best, the greatest it can be. So I don't know, with all of my heart, thank you very much for being on the podium of leadership. In the last few days, this program has been taken to the next height. I mean, because of the participation of the people that listen to us on the radio. Now we've grown from being one television on AKBC, now we are on NTA, we are on Planet Radio, and we are on Inspiration. And all is because of your support and your contribution. So give it up to yourself. You know, when we started this program, we thought about what we can do. We know we are very religious people. We go to church, we pray, and we are also very traditional. Many of us still believe. I remember the other day we were here and we were saying that we don't have to believe in Ifot. And one person even said, Ifot also wababa. So it means even as much as we try, even in this room, right on this podium of leadership, people still want to hold on to that old ideas. But I believe with time, we are all going to leave those things behind. And we are going to move on to the high price of the high calling of God until we turn this place, we turn this state into a state that is sustainably developed, where we have all arisen to our greatness. God is with us, and we are going to do it whether Satan like it or not, whether people like it or not, whether Abuja like it or not, whether Lagos like it or not. Akwa Ibom state is going to be the greatest state in this country. You know, I'm very, very delighted today to have the guests that we are having. Some time ago, your former governor said something that I will never forget. He said, you can never see beyond your vision. A lot of people don't understand that. You can never see beyond your vision. Your vision limits you to where you can see. But when you climb on a mountain, you can see way beyond where people in the valley can see. Am I right? Am I talking to people? Yes. And so when he was the governor, he came to the United States, and he was trying to see beyond the present vision he was seeing. So he came to the United States and began to scan around to see who are the Akwa Ibomite in the diaspora that can come in and join hand with him to take this country, to take this state to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in our midst today the very first senior special assistant to the governor on diaspora affairs. This gentleman has been a very good friend of mine over the years. You know, I was in the government house prayer meeting yesterday, and the preacher was talking about Nehemiah. And he was talking about the challenges that Nehemiah had with Sanballat, with all those people, when Nehemiah wanted to rebuild his city. He said they wanted to invite him to a meeting. That was the preaching. The man preached very well. He preached very, very well. Everybody was touched by that preaching. He said this opposition, Sanballat and Sanballat, they did everything to discourage him. They invited him to the meeting. And the reason they were inviting him to the meeting wasn't because they wanted to talk about the progress of Jerusalem. They wanted to intimidate him. They wanted to discourage him. They wanted to harm him. And the man, Nehemiah, refused, because he had a project. Do you have a project? Do you have a project? I know somebody in this audience have a project to become the best jersey, the best sport material in this whole country. And who will stop him? He's the only one that can stop him. I know someone in this place, in this audience, right in this audience, have the idea and the vision to make the best clocks that can be sold in this whole country. Someone had the idea that wants to compete with Sego. He has a project. And I tell you, there is going to be some challenges. There's going to be Sanballats who are going to invite you to wrong meetings. And when you go to those meetings, The intention is not to encourage you to build that clock. The intention is not to encourage you to build that New Jersey. The intention is not to encourage you to build that best ICT platform that you've been thinking of. The intention is not to encourage you to build that food packaging business that you've been thinking of. They have their own ideas. But what's your own idea? What's your own project? So Nehemiah said he was not going to go to those meetings because he has a project. I don't want to feel like I'm preaching, because this gentleman that I'm telling you was someone we used to pray about this Nehemiah vision about 5, 6, 7 years ago. And when His Excellency came and asked him to come and be his first senior special assistant to diaspora affairs, it was at the same time that the governor then also invited me to come back after so many years in the United States. Mr. Clement Ipat, the immediate past senior special assistant to the governor on diaspora affairs, he came back with me. And when he came back to Akwa Ibom, he decided to stay in Akwa Ibom and do the same kind of things he was doing in the United States. When he was in the United States, unlike me, he wasn't working for a big corporation. I was working for a big corporation. He wasn't working for government, but he had his own business, and he was doing well. And he decided to leave that business to come home and do his own business. So ladies and gentlemen, you have someone that have experienced, that have seen, have been to the mountain to see what the Americans are doing, and he wants to come back to do something greater than that in his home state. Welcome to the podium of leadership, Mr. Clement Ipat. Mr. Clement, in the United States, he has a company that was doing calibration of biotech and research equipment used throughout hospitals. I remember sometimes when I would call him, he would say, I am in Iowa. Next time I call him, he would say, I'm in Arizona. Next time I will call him, oh, I'm in Massachusetts. Are you an Akwa Ibom boy being in all these states in America? Say, yes, he is an Akwa Ibom boy. Doing things that the Americans were not doing. Calibrating equipment that they're using to measure chemicals, do physics. How many of you did titration in school? How many of you did titration in school? Do you know the equipment that you use to do titration needs to be calibrated? The ones we have here, once we finish it, we throw them away. That reminds me of something we need to do in this state, in this country. It's called maintenance culture. We need to maintain, we need to calibrate. So here is someone from Akwa Ibom, Kwabasi Ibom State in the United States, going to top universities to help them calibrate their equipment. And yet he decided to drop that to come home and start a business. Mr. Ipat is the MD and CEO of Spring Garden, a restaurant for Chinese, Africans, cuisine, and a very, very good fast food that people go here to do events. The same thing that he has seen in America, he has brought. So we brought him here today to share with us those experiences in America. How do you compare and contrast? What are we doing better than the Americans, and what are the Americans doing better than us? So once again, you have with us Mr. Ipat. Ask him what you've been hearing about America. I brought America to the podium of leadership. Let's give it up for him. If you are listening to us on the radio, feel free to give us a call. And if you are watching us on the TV, send us a text on the line that is being scrolled. Visit us on the website. If you have time, join our WhatsApp community that we are communicating. If you want to be here in the audience, you are welcome anytime. If you stay with us on the WhatsApp group, we'll make sure you are here. But what kind of a show is this?
A do show.
We are not here to talk. We are here to do. What did you do in America, and what are you doing in Nigeria? What do you want to do in the future? What are you currently doing? It's a do show that will inspire our people to sustainable development. A do show that will inspire our people to create jobs, to create wealth, and to alleviate poverty. That's the old notion of Dakada. Arise and build Akwa Ibom, because we are the one we've been waiting for. Feel free to ask Mr. Ipat anything you have. Thank you very much once again for being in the podium of leadership.
Do you want to see beyond your vision? Do you want to hear what other people think about leadership? Do you need a reshaping of your mindset and mentorship? Then Tune in to the Podium of Leadership, The Pole with Victor Udo, showing on AKBC Channel 45 every Monday by 12:30 p.m. and on NTA Channel 12 Uyo every Thursday by 10 p.m. Tune to The Pole on Planet FM on Wednesdays by 3 p.m. and on Inspiration FM every Saturday by 12:30 p.m. You can be a guest on this program. You can also advertise your products, goods and services or sponsor the program by calling our office line 0902 300 7299. That is 0902 300 7299. Visit our website on www.thepole.com.ng. Like our page on facebook.com/The Podium of Leadership or follow us on our Twitter handle at The Pole with Victor. The Podium of Leadership do show. Join us.
Okay, Mr. Pat, we are so glad to have you. I know I've said a little about you in summary. If you want to send us a text, if you have a question or comment, 0902 300 7299. 0902 300 7299. Let us know any question, what you are doing to create jobs, to create wealth, to alleviate poverty, what you are doing to help us be inclusive economically and politically, what you are doing to help the government to consolidate our infrastructure, whatever you have in mind that you think will be good for the sustainable development of this great state, send us by text. But let's hear from Mr. Pat.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Victor. I think you've done much of the introduction and very detailed, if I have to say so. Dr. Oda has been a very good friend of mine way back in the States, dating many years now. I believe up to 10 years. And we happen to also live in the same state at a time, called Delaware. So I've really known him for some time, and we've been good friends since then. One thing that he had back in the US, which he still has now, is that zeal to get things done. Yes, he was with a very big corporation in the United States, and sometimes people might say, having been there, why do you even come back here? Because the environment is totally different. How we operate businesses over there is different from what we do here, or what I've come to see here, at least in Akwa Ibom State. So, well, God gave him that grace to come back, and it happened that the former governor, His Excellency Governor Godswill Akpabio, also came over to the United States, and he found value in us. Decided to bring us back to Akwa Ibom State. And true to the calling of being very patriotic, we decided to stick around in Akwa Ibom, leaving what we were doing back there. Well, in my case, a little bit, much of it, 75%, I am back here in the country.
So you're not completely back yet?
Not completely back.
One leg there, one leg
back. But I'll be back here. And when Governor Akpabio said I should come back in the capacity of the Senior Special Assistant to Diaspora, of course, when his administration was completed, I decided to, well, what can I do back here instead of just going back to the United States? Where can I invest? Because really I want to be an investor in Nigeria. I've gathered, by the way, I started my business in the United States in 1994. Started from scratch. Worked for a company for some time, understood what they were doing, and decided to pull out and then start from scratch, employ people. So what I did over the past 1994 to now is about over 20 years,
yes,
or thereabout. 22 years, was to completely and thoroughly understudy the entrepreneurial culture in the United States, which is what I want to bring down here. Trust me, it's very different out here because of the little experiences that I've had. But there is still hope. All of you sitting here now can be the future Bill Gates that we are talking about. You can also be the Mark Zuckerberg. If you are passionate about what you do, if you have the vision, and then if you are ready to go through the challenges. Don't kid yourselves that when you are starting a business or wanting to be an entrepreneur in Nigeria, or in any part of the world, it's going to be easy. If you think it's going to be easy, if you have that mindset of it comes quick, it will also go quick. So what you have to do is to be very well grounded, have a vision, be prepared to go through the challenges of business, and also develop what is called the entrepreneurial culture. It's quite easy for you to do that now. When I went to the United States from Nigeria in 1990, stayed 4 years, was working for another company. Then we did not have the resources we have now, the global resources we have now for becoming a very good entrepreneur. You have it right now. And it is on the cell phone that you have. It's something called the internet. Something called the social media. But how do you use it to really better yourself? Social media in Akwa Ibom should be more than just using it to log on to Facebook accounts and making Mark Zuckerberg richer than he is today. It should be about you using that facility to be able to develop a culture and become the entrepreneur that we need seriously in Akwa Ibom State. When we came back here now, very honest and very, very well down to earth, that culture was not so much existent. The entrepreneurs we had came from out of the state. The few that we had from Akwa Ibom who are sons of the soil went out to either invest outside. Little was done to develop that culture in Akwa Ibom. So I see it as a very good opportunity for you guys to sit up, take it very seriously, know that you can become the entrepreneurs that we need in this state. When everybody's talking about government developing this, developing that infrastructure and businesses, actually, truth be told, as it is done outside this country, you are the ones to really do it. And the role of the government is to give you the enabling environment and facilities to have that done. And not only the government of Akwa Ibom State, you have to make use, you have to look for the resources available globally in order to make you succeed in business. Which is like the first and the primary tool that you have now is that internet. In the other program, I was listening to, we're talking about agriculture and ways of investing whatever they have. I recall looking at this Chinese television, CCTV. I'm sure most of you don't look at it. But if you really want to know what is going on in this world, particularly going on in China, that is where you really have to learn, or you are going to learn what is really called business from the ground up. Now, they have a government facility that goes to the farmlands. And by the way, China has quite a lot of very poor people, a lot of farmlands. They now go to the farmlands and now they encourage the farmers to cultivate their crops, give them the seeds, and at the appropriate time, put them up on the internet for them to sell globally. And that is what almost every one of you can do. So think of it in that way. Don't think small. If you think small, you are going to be limited to that small vision that you have. Think big at times. Well, you might say, we need resources to do it. Yeah, well, it's difficult for the banks here to give you loans. And besides, the bank rates are so very outrageous. I don't know how the economy did not go into recession and depression way back. But here we are. You will have to make the best of what we have.
I want you guys to tap into this knowledge. This guy is knowledgeable. I didn't tell you. Before he left Nigeria to the US, he was a senior ranking police officer. Some of his classmates are IGs, deputy commissioners, deputy IGs today. So this guy have a lot of information. You understand the political economy of Nigeria very, very well. It's not very often that you have a brand like this sitting down for you to interact. So feel free to ask him any question. But ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up to Mr. Clement. You're watching us on the TV. Please send us text messages. Text message. Visit us on our website. Scroll on the screen. If you are listening to us on the radio, on Planet or Inspiration, send us a text 0902 300 7299. 0902-300-7299. If you want to be our guest, if you want to come on the podium of leadership, if you want to join us, let us know. If you have a testimony, success of how you are creating wealth, how you are creating jobs, how you are alleviating poverty in your neighborhood, in your community, or how you are helping to consolidate the infrastructure that we have in this great state. Or if you are showing a way of doing political and economic inclusion of our land, come to the podium of leadership. The podium is where to be. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Clement Ipat, the immediate past Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Diaspora Affairs, the MD CEO of Spring Garden Restaurant, one of the best going places to have the best events, the best kind of food, that have the tingle of Chinese, Nigerian, American, Italian. If you want to do a wedding, if you want to do a birthday party, child dedication, place to be is the Spring Garden that is run by none other than Mr. Clement Ipat. He's here to interact with you with his experience in doing business. Like he told you, he started a business from the scratch, and I'm a testimony to it because I knew when he was moving around from one university to another, one institution to another, to do his own skill. He's a chemist from the University of Calabar. He didn't want to tell you all of that. He has been around. He's been a police officer. He understands this economy. Feel free to ask him a question. What idea does he have, or what you want to test your idea with him? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Clement Ipat is here to answer any question you have. Let's see question from left and right. Where do I start? Let me start with this gentleman here.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, I thank you for coming to advise us. So I want to know something, because for you to stand out might take you so many steps for you to be in this position you are today. Or, sir, what is that step that motivates you? And also, what can we do? Because I'm very, very touched. How can I be like you? How can we be like you? What are those challenges that you face in those days when you were like us that make you to stand out like this? And also, what are those things that you can see in the mode of Nigeria today as a youth that we are, that we can move this nation to a very far extent? Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for that question. Very, very important question. Now, I want to start with what you said, or the question you asked about that you want to be like me. Actually, I want you to be like you. And how you be like you is start from today. It's not a matter of just thinking and, groping in the dark for anything. Take a piece of paper. Start from there. Take a pen. Write out, this is who I want to be. And be convinced in yourself that that is who you want to be. That is the first step. Once you do that, you see, you are now going to, it's like the understanding that comes from God. It's level by level. It's just going to start opening up like flowers, and then you will start blossoming. But you have to understand who you really want to be, not who your friend is. You can only take examples and say, okay, well, Dr. Victor Odo is who he is today, but I want to be Mr. XYZ. But I can only take suggestions, not advice. Suggestions from Dr. Victor Odo, or Mr. Clement Ipat, or Mike Zuckerberg, or President Jonathan, or whoever you want to, whoever is your role model. And then he gets to mentor you towards your own vision. Now, in life, there are many challenges that you will face right from the time you're born. The same thing also should apply to your adult life, to your business. Also, because I take all of you here as budding entrepreneurs. You want to grow in business. You want to invest. You want to trade. You just want to have meaningful life and quality life for yourself. You're going to have challenges. Some of the challenges you might be able to anticipate from what maybe your mentor tells you. Very important, have a mentor. From what your mentor tells you, he's going to be in a position to really tell you, look, this is what I went through in order to get to this place. And then you listen. You do the little things that he suggests for you to do. And there are some challenges that are going to come that you never know. They just come up based on the environment that you are and the circumstances that you find yourself. So what you have to do now is to also get prepared mentally, socially, and perhaps also economically to be able to take those challenges as they come. Do not be deterred because a challenge comes and takes you and blindsides you. You did not expect it, and then you get frustrated. Oh, this business, how am I going to succeed in this business today? Look, I did not anticipate this happening, but my partner came in and defrauded me. Well, it has happened, But you have to have that integrity. You have to have what the Americans call that spunk in you to be able to stand up and say, okay, well, it has happened. Tomorrow, I'm going to overcome it. You are not going to develop that habit or that personality by what I see that is commonplace in Nigeria today. I'm sorry to say, and especially amongst the youths. Like I said before, things that come fast go fast. To get ready and be prepared for these challenges, one, you need to be properly educated. And that education is not limited to what you get in the universities, in the colleges. It's in the university of life itself. If you decide to be a businessman going into poultry today, sit down, take some time, really get to know what is all about this particular industry, or what is all about this sector that I'm going into. What can possibly happen? You have to study these things and know. That is why I said that you have better resources than I did when I went into business. Go on the internet, little research. We don't have that research culture here in Nigeria. All you need to do now, sometimes you can even use your voice over this and then just talk to your Google and it tells you exactly what you want to know. Research. Find out what somebody is doing in China to succeed. Find out what somebody is doing in the United States to succeed. And also develop that personal integrity. I heard him talking about honesty the other time. You have to be honest with yourself and people around you. Period. You can never go anywhere without honesty. Yes. Because honesty is what is going to make you trump all these challenges. When you have somebody that is dishonest with you, at least be convinced that you are honest within yourselves, and before long you'll see yourself, you pick up.
So I'm going to take the gentleman at the back.
I used to work for Texas Instruments, which you know is a very high gear company.
Correct.
And then I discovered that we can manufacture electricity through infrared. So I want to practicalize that idea in Akwa Ibom. And I know it will create jobs for a lot of people. For the artisan, for the technician, for the engineers, it will create jobs for a lot of people. And I'm here to get it up with the governor. I've always been sending texts to the governor about it, and I don't know what they want to do about it. Previously, I sent a text to the governor that I wanted to invent infrared gun. And they say, the governor was excited, called me and said, "Van me, I wanted to do it, but now some SS officers from his office came to talk to me and say, don't invent the infrared gun. Please, we want electricity. We want more electricity. So I'm confused. I don't know what to do, whether to invent infrared electricity or infrared gun.
I don't know how you're going to invent electricity or infrared gun. And also, according to you, you communicated with the governor. I'm not speaking for the governor right here now. And you also communicated with some of his aides. If I were you, I would take what the governor said. Well, in that case, you have to develop that. Okay.
I have a group of engineers behind me.
Sure. I know of Texas Instruments in Irving,
yes.
Which I also happen to live in Irving,
yes.
Irving, Texas right now.
Dallas,
yeah, yes. And it's quite a big company,
yes.
a tech company. Yes. Very well known. They make a lot of instruments,
yes.
tech instruments that we use all over the world.
Yes.
So I do not doubt the integrity of the infrared gun that they may have to produce. But you know, the blueprint is with you. Now, you also, this is just my suggestion to you, you have to be very practical about the way you go about this thing. If it is a very, very good thing that is needed for this country now, have you thought of private investors coming in? Rather
That's what
than
I'm looking
government.
for. That's what I'm looking for now.
Yes. And when you are looking for private investors, please, my suggestion is don't limit it to Akwa Ibom alone.
No, not only the Bible.
No, don't limit world
Worldwide.
exactly.
Worldwide.
Globalize it.
Yeah.
Try as much. You may not get those investors willing today, but tomorrow you can be able to do it, depending on what you present to them. On
Let's
how
talk
you do it.
You've not asked a question.
It's quite a privilege. I want to ask few questions. I want to find out why, because I learned that you're a policeman, a police officer. I want to know what made you leave the police force, if maybe that was not your vision, or maybe something happened that you find yourself in a police work. I want to know what made you leave police work to travel to fly abroad, and also I want to find out what made you, first of all, fly abroad before now coming back to establish a business here, instead of establish a business here first. Now, also, I want to find out why you left your work there to establish a restaurant, and also why haven't you established the restaurant there to sell African food like our afang soup, our edikankong, our ipang kuko, our editaiwa osomipong, and over there. But you choose to come over here to establish a restaurant that you sell Chinese food and other food. So, and also I want you to say and remove what our society people have in our mind, in our mindset about people making it abroad instead of making it here. But you've gone over there, you've made it there, we're living good, but you had to come back. You decided to come back here. Now, I want you to make, as in what you can say, for them to know that someone can also make it here instead of going abroad.
Okay, let me start from the third question, if I get you right. You know, I've lived in America for about 26 years now.
By the way, have children who are working engineers that are working in the United States making big money too.
And I'm also a Nigerian. So I have that dual loyalty and patriotic tendencies in me, which means I don't see it as anything investing in a country where I've spent much of my adult life in. And also, I'm from Nigeria. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. And that is the very reason that made me and him decide to say, no matter what we do out there, no matter how much we succeed outside, we still have a duty to come back home, establish ourselves home, and also establish other people like you coming up behind us.
Let me even make this a little bit more interesting. Because there is big disparity when you go to a restaurant in the United States and when you enter a restaurant here. Can you talk a little bit on the practical level about customer service, for instance?
Exactly.
What are the things that make people loyal to restaurant? Everybody, someone was talking about KFC. Some people don't even know KFC means Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's a franchise. Why are people going McDonald's? Why are people going all this? What is there? What will it take for Spring Garden to become a McDonald's or become a big chain,
Yes.
that we can take abroad?
Sure. It takes one time, it takes money, it takes honesty, both on my part and on the part of people working in Spring Garden. Now, I would say the common mindset of Nigerians is a restaurant is just a restaurant. No. Over there in America, in London, and in other parts of the world, it's a real money-making business. One of the richest men in this world started a restaurant. And today, the chain is multiplying. I'm sure you've heard about McDonald's. And what they sell is just put a beef patty between bread buns. And it's one of the richest corporations in the world today. He did that because of, and by the way, the man just started a little bit from his home. All he sells is that. There are some franchises just selling hot dogs and bread. Nathan's, for example, and they are making quite a lot of money. So now what I am trying to do is bring the concept of restaurants as it is done outside Nigeria, not only in the United States. Bring that concept into Akwa Ibom and possibly start from Akwa Ibom State and grow the franchise. That's the aim of my motive of establishing it here. So restaurants is a very good business. There is no time, no matter how depressed the economy is, no matter how recession has stepped in, people are going to eat. And sometimes it is healthier and better to eat outside. And you see the family structure now, even in Nigeria, is changing. The emphasis before used to be on mom stays at home and cooks the food for everybody. Now, moms are working. Kids go to school. The dad is out there working. The little time that moms comes back from work shouldn't be spent doing all kinds of chores, or even with the father too. So you need places that you can go to buy healthy, eat healthy, and grow. And also assimilate into what is going on globally. The culture, the global culture of, things we can never stagnate.
Yeah. Three things come to my mind that I think might be interesting for you to elaborate. One is the difference between a restaurant and a fast food. And then the other one is, in America, they don't have house girls and house boys. So perhaps a family that doesn't, both parents are working, then maybe they have a house boy. And then the third thing is, because I've dealt with some investors that have come, they want to go out to eat. Am I taking them to fast food? They're already staying in a hotel and they don't like the hotel food. They want to go to a restaurant.
Yes.
Do we have restaurants in Akwa Ibom? How many restaurants can we count in Akwa Ibom? So please, if you can.
We really don't. Well, I think we do have some restaurants and Le Meridian.
It's a hotel now.
Well, they have a hotel. Well, they have the restaurant section
there.
for it.
And the people that stay there want to go something else. They want to go
someplace
out.
else to eat, and also have the variety to eat. And you want somebody coming in from London or coming in from Chicago, United States, to be able to eat what he is used to eating. That brings me to the question that you were talking about, having to develop African food over there. Now, as an investor, one thing that I consider first is the profitability. If I sell African food outside, and by the way, there are African restaurants over there, many of them. So why should I go in now and invest in something that I'm going to find the competition very stiff, and then the market and the clientele a little bit low? So these are the things that you have to really take into consideration as you are preparing to launch a business. But here in Nigeria, we don't, like it's telling you, we don't really have what you call restaurants. You find some people leaving this country, like when we used to organize conventions and summits outside, for when they come, there is a level of intimidation when they go out to. They don't really know how to flow in. So my idea is to make sure that when you eat here in Nigeria, in Uyo, you can eat anywhere in this world and be very comfortable, because you are being exposed globally now. The world has completely globalized. So if you think local, you are just going to stagnate and stay behind. As a matter of fact, that is a mental recession. So what you have to do now is to think global. So that was my idea of getting into the restaurant, to make sure that, one, make profit. Very important. That's number one. Number two, bring cultures. Food is a part of culture. Bring other cultures into our environment, and also in the same, by God's grace, develop franchises and also export. That is when I will get to export. By the time I get to export Spring Garden, I would make sure that I know how to package Gary to attract that Chinese man. I know how to package Edekangekong, not just cooking and calling people to come and eat, and you put a lot of pepper or salt or whatever. That's not about it. But how can I make that food attractive to somebody who is not from Akwa Ibom or Nigeria? How do I convince that person that if you eat this, you are eating healthy? That you are not just packing a lot of carbohydrate into your system. So all those things take time, you take experience, you take trials in order to get to that point. Now, the third segment, please, was you talking about the police. I want to tell every one of you here, when I graduated from the University of Calabar, joining the police was the last thing on my mind.
You don't want to be with Robert.
And it was completely crossed out. But there was a certain person who insisted. And this is how he did it. I'm not going to mention his name. He called my parents and said, I see something in that man that I don't see in so many of our youths. And this is where I want him to be. So when they told me, I was telling my parents, what are you guys talking about? I mean, do you even know what you're talking about? But I'm here to tell you, as honest and clear as I can be, the training I got from the Nigerian police force happens to be the training in life I've ever gotten. That 1 year has made me who I am today. In terms of integrity, you might say, how come? But that is how we were trained back then. And don't be surprised to see members of the Nigerian police force back then excelling anywhere they go to in this world. The training was superb. But we came out, we graduated, and then we got into the mainstream of classic corruption that not only the Nigerian police is noted for, but it's a nationwide problem. Now, after that training, I did my best, and for the few years that I was in the police force, I got to accelerated promotions because of hard work, clear hard work, not because of connections. And as he may have told you, some of my colleagues now have been IGs and maybe still serving as IG, and all those other, DIGs, AIGs, there are so many of them. What happened then was that training also made us to bond very well. When we see ourselves, it's just like also the other secondary school experience that I had in Etienne Institute. I'm promoting Etienne Institute right now.
Go.
Yes, you were there. We had superb training on how to live life. So police was very, very good. My decision to leave the police was also happenstance, just like it was for me to get into the police. I went on vacation, and in the course of the vacation in Philadelphia, United States, I was convinced, because I'm a visionary person, and it's like when I am locked into something, when I'm convinced by superior argument, I stick to it. Look, you can make it better out here with your zeal and with your everything. And that's how I decided to leave the Nigerian police, move with my wife, just newly married then, and we decided to start a family over there. And I don't regret one single day.
I don't know, guys. This has been a very, very good, and I know it was going to be this interesting, because this is the kind of things that we want. People interacting, people sharing their experience. I know there are so many hands that are up, and Clement, you probably will have to be here again to answer some of the questions you cannot answer to the best. Please, if you're asking a question, make it very brief, to the point. You first. Please make it brief, because we are out of time.
Thank you, sir. I'm grateful. My question is, I want to know, when you started, what was your vision? What did you see chemistry as? Was it a course should I just do?
Remember, he's in the restaurant business today. Is that chemistry?
Was it your profession? Was it the profession you dreamt of doing in future? Was it what you wanted for yourself? Or it was just something that, okay, let me do it because others are doing, or let me do it that this is the privilege I have? I want to also know, what are the challenges you had when you were starting, from your year one, when you graduated? What was your vision ahead before you could get to producing all these biotech materials? Thank you very much.
Well, there is something that the scripture says, that the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. Even my having to read chemistry, you can see the least common LCM, whatever they call it in
denominator
or LCD. that most of the times what I really, or I should just think, maybe out of youthful exuberance or whatever that I want to do, I don't get to doing those things. I found that in my life. I got to read chemistry because I applied for medicine, University of Ife, and some of these other bigger universities back then. And the JAM that we took, well, I wasn't admitted in those universities. But all of a sudden, one day, I saw the letter of admission from JAM sending me to University of Calabar and also to do chemistry. I remember at home, my dad told me, so what are you going to do? I said, I am not going. And I want to read medicine, period. He said, well, you know what? He convinced me. Go and just be in the university instead of staying at home or being in one of Federal School of Art and Science, Victoria Island. That's where I was going for. I said, let me go and finish up HSC there. He said, just go sit in the university and then take JAMB again next year. I said, okay, fine. I left. And in my first year in college, or university as a college year, I got to really know that I have this love for chemistry. And I was making the grades. And I also had classmates, about 31 of us, who were like a family, who were very, very studious. I think we produced 2 first classes then. And if I mention the year, some of you may not have even been born by that time. Yeah. So it was really, that was in 1983.
Were you born then? You were not born in 83? Wow. So you guys are a young generation.
So then, university education used to be, you go in there, you study, and you study. So we did that, and I loved every single day of reading chemistry.
I think maybe what will help is how you took the chemistry you studied in Unical and become a businessman in America. I think that might be intriguing for them.
Yes. That actually, when I left America, I did a few jobs before I got. Then I was working with a big chemical company in New Jersey, in southern New Jersey. I used to commute from Philadelphia to South Jersey every day, back and forth. And something also happened in that company that I decided to, okay, let me just resign. And it happened that I found the next job that I had was the company that trained me to do what I am doing in the United States today.
Are your business still functioning in the United States?
Yes, it is still functioning. And talking about that, that is what I want all of you to do. You see, starting a business, having that entrepreneurial culture is not just about setting up something. It's about developing a management strategy, a management template that even when you are not around, people that you employ. Remember, your business, you alone cannot be the business. The people that you employ should be like family to you. Those are the people that you really want to cultivate and also develop a system that they are used to in such a way that even when you are at a point, even when you are not around, it still runs. So now I can stay here in Nigeria, which is what I do, and do my business over there. I can see what they are doing in real time in the lab using the internet. So you see, this resource that you have called the internet is something that you can never in the world of today joke with. You have to do that. Even in your studies in the university, much of the materials for your education, you can find them online easily. Books and other resources.
What's next? And then him, and then her.
I thank you very much, sir, for coming to talk to us. I'm a Didion from Ini, a tropical area in Akwa Ibom State. Sir, you've talked so much about starting a business. Sir, recently, so many whites are coming down to Akwa Ibom State to invest. Please, sir, I would love you to still enlighten us much more on how to start from the scratch. And secondly, sir, I want to ask if you are from a very rich family or you may have stumbled on a take-off grant somewhere when you went to United States? If not, sir, how did you start?
Okay. Well, starting a business, especially in the United States, I'm not from a very rich family that gave me money to even go to the United States. So it was a matter of working, saving, having the vision, and when the opportunity came, I latched onto it. And then developing this culture of integrity, honesty in the business, and really having to study the industry to know exactly what is happening. When I started, I think I was about maybe the first or the second black company that got into that business in the entire country, United States. So it took me time, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was rosy the first 5 years. It wasn't.
And Clem, you probably might want to let them know how you started small. What you didn't start big.
Yes.
The fact that you were going to maintain simple equipment.
Correct.
That, please.
And how I started, just like it's saying, was that I started small, and then I grew from there, and then I added from one equipment to the other, because over there you have to have the expertise before you service the equipment. I started with what is called a pipette.
You guys know pipette? You must know pipette very well.
Yes.
Anybody that have been to secondary school in the days I went will know a pipette is.
But the world has moved away from that kind of pipette, the handheld one you have to pull with your mouth, into what is called the pipette. If you look at when they are doing any scientific research program on TV, you will see people holding one equipment and releasing liquids. And that can measure in microliters or in milliliters. So the idea is, or what I did was to make sure that that handheld pipette is called a micropipette. I go around universities and hospitals to calibrate that equipment alone. And also pharmaceutical companies, biotech companies, that's where I started. Started small before I added other.
Because it took the time to learn
how to do that. So you need concentration in business. You need focus. You need not to deviate from your vision and from your goal. Like we said before, challenges are going to come. This is life. They must come. But what you have to do is to just stay focused, stay on the track, and then you will succeed. So the idea of having money to go and start business, no. Although it is difficult a little bit in this country, but over there, loan facilities in order to start businesses. Here, it's a little bit difficult. So, which means you have to look for, alternative sources of raising revenue in order to be able to get yourself started.
But the key thing was the competency. It's the competency that counts with. And I keep telling you, get knowledge. Once you get knowledge, money will come. And that's why we keep telling you about the idea of putting it in a business plan. But get a skill. Unfortunately, my producer is telling me time is out. We would definitely have to bring Mr. Pat and people like him to the podium of leadership. Let's give it up again to Mr. Pat for being here today.
Do you want to see beyond your vision? Do you want to hear what other people think about leadership? Do you need a reshaping of your mindset and mentorship? Then tune in to the Podium of Leadership, The Pole with Victor Udo, showing on AKBC Channel 45 every Monday by 12:30 p.m. and on NTA Channel 12 Uyo every Thursday by 10 p.m. Tune to The Pole on Planet FM on Wednesdays by 3 p.m. and on Inspiration FM every Saturday by 12:30 p.m. You can be a guest on this program. You can also advertise your products, goods and services, or sponsor the program by calling our office line 0902 300 7299. That is 0902 300 7299. Visit our website on www.thepole.com.ng. Like our page on facebook.com/The Podium of Leadership, or follow us on our Twitter handle at The Pole with Victor. The Podium of Leadership do show. Join us.
I would like to go on, but we just don't have time, and my producer is on my own case. If you have any further question, please send us a text at 09023007299. It has been great bring someone who's been there, done that, and coming home to do it, interacting with you. Once again, we thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate you in the audience that have been taking time to come to the studio. Come back next time and we'll be able to answer your question. God bless you. God bless Akwa Ibom.